Waking turgid, skewy, perfect, with gaping mouth and profligate limbs, light from the outside overlays me. How many ways we lie as we tickle ourselves with what the thunder said. Most books are worthless, written by bums or by a professor. Only the ones that are better than food fire me up. The rest are wank. The things I said that hurt you, I guess they were lies too. Or else the kind of truth that only autists value, a truth uncut and absolute and smaller in meaning than a well-meant lie. Now that the sun which woke me is setting, other suns will come. Other planets will kiss my sheet. There is too much down now for me to stop. The stuff that stays unwritten never did excite me. To wait for daybreak is not to live. Once a thing set in motion halts, allow however long it takes the show to restart and find its sequel. And if it turns out to have stopped terminally, or that nearing completion the author got the willies, terrified of the hollow trough that greets any finished thing, tant pis. You can't go crying over unmilked teats. By the Sunday market, a rat is exploring, darting around among the stalls. Tomorrow, when the yuppies in the neighborhood eat their daily biltong, some will find hair in their muffin and complain, fuck such individuals that need to be insured against life's big mess. Need it be explained, now we are knee-deep, my dear, in this ongoing tract. A hair in a muffin is like hair on a bosom, implying enough is never enough. Stop all this talk. Get going if you want to make the bus. The driver is temperamental, the night long. It will be a slow insomniac push across the plain. In the bus, crazies rock and simpletons chuckle. Incarcerated men in jumpsuits ogle each tit and township as eagerly as wide-eyed children Christmas. The itinerary is simple. Straight into the expectant dawn, Iowa, Nebraska, then veer towards LA, where the scum that wafts from Rotterdam beats and slaps against the shore. The bus proceeds, the convicts twitch, the dullards thumb their plastic jewjaws. The further you go, the emptier it gets. Salt, desert, mountain, dirt. A time back, at another poet's birthday, while I served myself yesterday's old ragout, some poser with his idiotic wife arrived and saw I was alone. "You take a walk," he said, then offered me his arm. Over the grass to the folly we went, over the waves to colossal weather, to snow and blood, lakes abhorrent and dense with phosphate, ice on the lintel on the thick black drainpipe, ice on the sweltering compost heap. Each object's edge lies somewhere beyond where we think it. None knows, so none can tell you if island and shelf are one or one and two. It slopes, and then it curls up into an incline, hoarding detritus into a wall. Maybe the policy I once again attempt is there, in the continent's overreach, landmass redrawn, buttressed by its own penumbra. In a field where there are animals, there is always a fence delimiting the pasture from the parcel newly sown. Limits make corn, the absence of limits loss, but somewhere between there is the synecdoche, by which a person traveling through darkness is allowed to feel his totality at his borders, his neighbor partial, asleep on the bus. And means all, comma, communion, coterminous, nondescript, lived in. Every time my parrots squawk, my own falsetto finds equivalence, emitted, exogenous, ephemeral expressions, each effeminate eunuch hearing thing talking meaning, agog tries with all his throat to replicate. The first word is itself and others' inputs, language wrought from egg and sperm. I held my offspring, changed them, knew them in their tastes, and sent them off, near ready into life, buying them time by trading our futures. The kids will be kids. Impressed by us, they tend to other stuff, something of their own, apropos and disparate. It lasts forever. Make no mistake. Its endless contours unfolding within bounds. Whenever I am weak in mind, fractals haunt me with their paisley swags, drawn without drawing or design, worlds of slalom and self-taught line that follow routes of their own, unnerve me, laying down, unwound behind my eyes. On the starchy daybed, fitful, I drop off, hand in crotch, high on dilaudid. By your works I shall know you, by their incarnate ambition and scope. If the work is good, bugger life's upheaval. Early one evening, with time to kill, I walked near the new university. When night fell, novel forms of surrender niggled me. Infinity, nothingness, girls in nylon tights, they slouch narcotic against my arm. Now they say, about the cannon. I am fed up with my imbecilic kin. They are watching the oceans turn to algal bloom. Bloody awful, they interject, their tongues all crusty with the breakbone fever. I've never seen the like, and cultivate their garden. When it rains, the motor fumes overwhelm us, and in the sunshine, heat reeks on concrete. A long time I sat among the businessmen, listening intently to the few who made sense. Clothed in fear, they repeat themselves. The audience buy it, but the markets don't. Flaccid web, too big to discern, vast and passive, mute and late, abstract, man-made, non-committal. Our spring, they opine, begins in April. Mine does not. It starts at any time, creep of season, jibing with my art, commanding the land, contracting it, chemical into birth. Like bees, nurse and feed the obscene grub jelly, strangers endow me with their stuff and fade away into the mass. An orderly is wringing out the rancid mattress, heavy with sweat and cold cream, the impregnated cushion washed and rinsed into the river. At the first sign of life, they bolt, curators in suits that mistaken take this text for true. It is and it isn't. It is all manner of things, neither in nor out of the ordinary. If one beautiful morning we all went minnowing, would names and dates still find you? You slide yourself into the analyst's couch, pound at the window, plead with the dead, sob in the darkness that nothing is enough. Well, nothing is, but still the fish go, infallibly curious, into my trap. A little fish, bait for a salmon. There is in anything, handed on, a background you intuit in the thing itself. Salmon, herring, rock bass, hake, lungfish, digging in the drying shallows, night crawlers, yeast spores, the archaic microbe. Let them be. Newer taxa will overturn the order. I'm all right. This homework is fun. Harder draft awaits the teacher that set the test, which he will be forever forced to mark, using up his foreign coins to play indefinitely at my slots. An image is forming. An earlier minimum is all but fleshed out, ingénu transformed into habitué. A great-breasted dancer is moving around a pole, turning slowly, then in widening arcs. No one even looks. The birthday table, a drunk and pitiful, tired by the islanders and by their rum. The only person vaguely on form or faking it is the man that takes admission. The dancer circles to the tawdry music, the talcum moving through the club like blossom. Initially, And after all, as if it was a 3-day weekend, an unfamiliar touch arranges all the hullabaloo and nudges it to sense, and it is as if the order existed. Father said nothing when I came home with impetigo. He just necked a glass of whiskey. Infection is inevitable among siblings, and playmates too over time, said the doctor. After the tea and biscuits, I notice that the light is failing. It is about 5, and the ice shelf is calving in the northern seas. At home, and at a loss now, I picture the iceberg fizz and groan. Outside the curtains, it is snowing on the orchard, a dust of snow that turns the dark trees into light. It falls on the ground and on my windowsill. The house we are renting has its own agenda. Moving inside it, we are lived in too. Ancestral symbols hang in the privy. Your face is daubed in likeness in the music room upstairs. The bedroom appalls me. Look at the lady fingering the lodger. Down the hall, the shelf voids itself. It pours its salts into the bathtub. Whatever we purchase winds up here. The iron bath is filling. It is a museum piece, impractical, fit to be conserved. The man whose smithy made it's dying for a piss. In the vapour and murk, I see his white apron inch up his fleshy thighs. It is so dirty. The image looks bereft of focus. Yet we know the man by his good blue eyes and by your own sad fears that a first word may be won and over. I stop waiting for you.